For years, people believed luxury was unstoppable. Big brands were expanding into every major city. New stores were opening faster than customers could even learn their names. But that story belongs to another time. Because behind the flagship stores and the quarterly reports, a much darker pattern has started to form. A pattern the industry is trying to keep out of the spotlight. Across America, some of the most powerful luxury houses are shutting doors they once fought hard to open. Not because the market disappeared, not because the rich stopped spending, but because the rules of status shifted and many brands failed to shift with it. The top-tier clients, the ones who used to spend without thinking, are pulling back from. And when those clients pull back, the ripple hits everything: foot traffic, sales targets, and entire retail networks. Today, we are breaking down 10 major luxury brands that are facing this painful reality in 2025. What is happening now is not a small correction. It is a prestige reset, and some brands might just be left behind. Let's take a look at them. Number 10, Dior. Dior, a major house under LVMH, has come under heavy strain in 2025. According to LVMH's public results, its fashion and leather goods segment, which includes Dior, saw a big drop. In the first half of 2025, that unit's revenue fell by 8% organically. At the same time, LVMH's net profit plunged 22% year over year. LVMH itself noted that Dior was underperforming compared to the broader fashion and leather goods division. Part of Dior's difficulty stems from weak demand in Asia, especially China, where many luxury shoppers are tightening their belts. LVMH's CFO has pointed out that tourism, once a big help in countries like Japan, is no longer making up for the slowdown, and foot traffic is weaker in Dior's stores. Because Dior is not pulling in the sales it once did, the cost of keeping all its boutiques and retail locations running is becoming harder to justify. There's also a strategic side to Dior's struggle. According to insiders, LVMH's leadership thinks Dior needs to be reinvented. It needs more freshness, more appeal, because the current brand direction feels stale. The outgoing LVMH CFO even hinted that Dior's creative leadership may change as part of a broader plan to shake up the brand and revive interest. On top of that, LVMH is doing more with its store footprint across its houses. Because Dior's sales are sliding, the company is likely pruning underperforming outlets, especially in regions or cities where traffic is down, to protect profitability and reposition Dior for a more sustainable future. That way, they can cut costs and redirect resources to more promising markets or to building up their best stores. Coming up is a brand that boasted innovation for years, but the same innovations now make it seem outdated and disconnected from its audience. Number 9, Balenciaga. Balenciaga, another Kering-owned house, is in a dangerous situation in 2025. In its first half report, Kering said that other houses, which includes Balenciaga, saw a 15% drop in revenue. Within that, the directly operated retail network sales fell 11% on a comparable basis, while their wholesale revenue plunged 28%. This shows that both Balenciaga's own stores and its wholesale partners are doing poorly. Despite these challenges, it has been noted that Balenciaga's leather goods business held up somewhat in North America and even rose a little in Asia Pacific. But in Western Europe and Japan, things slowed down. Store traffic has weakened, and under that pressure, some of Balenciaga's less profitable boutiques may be in danger. The company is running a strict cost control plan, and if stores are not making enough, they are likely to be shut or rethought. Creative instability is also a big factor. In 2025, Demna, who led Balenciaga for years, was moved to Gucci as its new artistic director. That left a big gap at Balenciaga, and Kering responded by naming Pier Paolo Piccioli, formerly of Valentino, as the new creative director. This kind of leadership shakeup can shake out customer loyalty. Fans of Demna's provocative, street luxury style found it hard to immediately warm up to a more refined aesthetic. That risk has led to lower demand in stores. Moreover, Kering's financials show that the other houses segment is making a recurring operating loss, 29 million euros in the first half of 2025, even after tight cost discipline. That loss puts real pressure on Kering to cut costs aggressively, and one of the easiest levers is to close underperforming Balenciaga boutiques. As Balenciaga fights to stabilize its business, its weaker or less profitable stores are prime candidates for pruning. Number 8 once led the pack, yet now struggles because loyalty has given way to instant gratification culture. Number 8, Gucci. Gucci is bleeding badly in 2025, and the numbers paint a stark picture of how deep the trouble runs. In the first half of 2025, Gucci's revenue dropped to 3.0 billion euros, down 26% as reported and 25% on a comparable basis. Its directly operated retail network saw a 24% drop in sales on a comparable basis. Even more alarming, Gucci's wholesale revenue plunged 42% in that same period. The margin story is equally grim. Gucci's recurring operating income in the first half of 2025 was 486 million euros, but its recurring operating margin collapsed by 8.7 points compared to the first half of 2024. Kering, Gucci's parent company, says it has launched major initiatives to streamline Gucci's cost base to help limit the damage. In the first quarter of 2025, the company reported that Gucci's revenue was 1.571 billion euros, down 24% reported and 25% comparable. The group also disclosed that 25 net stores were closed in that quarter, bringing down its directly operated store count, and specifically 10 Gucci stores were shut. The reason being that Gucci stores are suffering from low foot traffic. Part of Gucci's problems comes from creative leadership shifts. While that is a bold move to shake things up, analysts warn it may take time for his imprint to revive Gucci's appeal. Meanwhile, Gucci is trying to lean into a few new leather goods lines. Report shows that new launches, like the Giglio bag from Cruise 2026, are being welcomed well. But even so, those wins are not yet enough to make up for very weak carryover sales and massive wholesale decline. On top of that, the macro environment isn't helping. Kering's first quarter results show that its directly operated retail network dropped 16% on a comparable basis overall, with minus 13% in North America and Western Europe, and minus 25% in Asia Pacific. These are key luxury markets, and weaker buyer demand there is putting real stress on Gucci's physical stores. Because Gucci's own stores are not generating enough revenue and wholesale is badly hurt, Kering is forced to reduce its retail footprint. It's closing Gucci boutiques that are doing well to save on rent, staffing, and operating costs. The goal is to focus on fewer but more profitable locations, thereby steadying the brand and protecting its margins. And this leads us to a brand whose rise was unstoppable, until every signature style became ordinary overnight, leaving it struggling to feel exclusive again. Number 7, Saint Laurent, YSL. Saint Laurent is also under significant pressure in 2025. In the first half of the year, its revenue fell to 1.3 billion euros, down 11% as reported and 10% on a comparable basis. Its directly operated retail network sales also dropped, illustrating that YSL boutiques are seeing weaker footfall and lower spend. On wholesale, the decline is severe. YSL's wholesale revenue slid 17% in the first half of 2025. In the first quarter of 2025, the head company reported that YSL's revenue was 679 million euros. During the same quarter, its directly operated store sales dropped 8%, and wholesale collapsed by 24%. Profit-wise, Yves Saint Laurent's recurring operating income for the first half of 2025 was 262 million euros, but its operating margin slipped 1.6 points compared to the same period a year earlier. The question is, why are YSL stores under threat? Part of the reason is that its mother company is trying to rationalize its distribution. During the earnings call, executives said they are stepping up plans to make distribution more exclusive. This means closing smaller or underperforming wholesale channels and relying more on a smaller set of high-quality retail locations. According to Kering, its directly operated retail network is suffering across geographies with steep declines in tourism-heavy markets. Western Europe and Japan in particular are decelerating because fewer tourists are coming into stores. At the same time, they are reworking YSL's product offer, refreshing leather goods across all price tiers. The idea is to drive renewed demand, especially in luxurious handbags, but this takes time. Until those new bags fully land, some YSL stores will likely feel the squeeze. Finally, part of the cost-cutting push that is hammering Gucci is also hitting Saint Laurent, with the group closing 25 stores in the first quarter alone and planning more. YSL's weaker locations are likely to get the axe. Kering is being more vigilant about store profitability, and YSL's underperforming shops will face scrutiny. And brand number 6? It crumbled quietly, caught between old-school craftsmanship and a new generation that refuses to pay for what it once idolized. Number 6. Versace. Versace, part of Capri Holdings, is going through a rough patch in 2025. And the reasons go beyond just weak sales. There's a full restructuring underway. In its fiscal fourth quarter of 2025, Versace's revenue dropped to $208 million, a decrease of 21.2% on a reported basis and 19.7% in constant currency. Its gross profit fell, though its gross margin stayed relatively strong at 65.4%, but that wasn't enough to stop an operating loss of $13 million this quarter. Even before fourth quarter, things were already shaky. In the third quarter of 2025, Versace made only $193 million, down by 15% year over year. Its retail sales dropped in the mid-teens, while wholesale revenue tumbled in double digits. Regionally, revenue in the Americas declined by 21%, in EMEA by 13%, and in Asia by 11%. These steep declines show Versace is bleeding across markets, not just in one region. How did it get here? Well, first, Capri is clearly scaling back. Versace is being sold to Prada. The deal was made April 2025 for about $1.375 billion in cash. Once the deal closes, Versace will be treated as a discontinued operation in Capri's books. This sale strongly suggests Capri wants to cut its exposure to Versace's loss-making business rather than turn it around internally. Second, Capri is under real financial strain. In the third quarter, the firm said total revenue fell 11.6% year over year, with its retail sales in low double digits and wholesale dropping sharply. That pressure means Capri must trim costs aggressively, and slower Versace boutiques are very likely on the chopping block. In fact, Capri's total store count has already fallen. A report from fourth quarter 2025 shows its retail stores dropping from 1,239 to 1,158. Third, there's a creative change. Donatella Versace, who has long been the creative face of the brand, is stepping back from her role, according to multiple media sources. That could unsettle the brand's identity, especially if longtime customers don't buy into a new creative vision. When a brand like Versace loses its creative core, its stores often feel the pain. Fewer people are pulled into physical boutiques when the brand feels less alive. Next on the list is a brand whose iconic design suddenly lost its luster, showing how fast even heritage can turn into a liability. Number 5. Michael Kors. Michael Kors, another major brand under Capri Holdings, is also going through a lot in 2025. According to Capri's FY 2025 results, Michael Kors's revenue dropped to $694 million, down 15.6% on a reported basis, and 14.4% in constant currency. Its gross profit declined to $407 million, with a gross margin slipping from 60.8% a year before. Operating income also took a nosedive, Kors made only $32 million in the fourth quarter, pushing its operating margin down to 4.6%. In earlier quarters, the picture was similarly bad. In the first quarter FY 2025, Michael Kors' revenue fell to $675 million, a decline of 14.2%. Capri said this drop was largely due to softening demand globally for fashion luxury goods. Sales fell both in its own stores and through wholesale. In the third quarter, Capri reported its wholesale revenue for Kors declined by high single digits, while retail dipped low teens. There are several reasons why Kors stores may be closing or under threat this year. First, Capri is under significant financial strain. In the second quarter FY 2025, Capri reported total revenue of about $1.1 billion, down 16.4% versus the previous year. Their operating margin turned negative, and they said they were carrying too much inventory. That kind of pressure means they need to cut costs, and closing struggling Michael Kors stores is a straightforward way to reduce fixed costs. Second, Capri is repositioning. With the planned sale of Versace, its leadership is turning attention back to its other two brands, Michael Kors and Jimmy Choo. They intend to use proceeds from the Versace sale to pay down debt and energize Kors and Choo. But that also means trimming any unprofitable parts of the business first. Capri's CEO, John Idol, made clear in their earnings call that they want to refocus on Kors's core full-price business. Additionally, gross margin pressure is hurting profitability. According to Capri's fourth quarter earnings call transcript, lower full-price sell-throughs, meaning fewer Kors items are being bought at full price, forced the company to write off inventory or discount more. That hurts profitability and pushes the mother company to shut stores where margins are weakest. Finally, macroeconomic headwinds aren't helping. Capri's earnings call cited expense deleverage, higher fixed costs relative to falling sales, as a core challenge. With weaker demand globally, Capri may not see stable growth anytime soon, so it is likely to scale back its store network, closing lower-performing Kors boutiques, especially in markets where traffic or sales per store don't justify staying open. This next brand was once cheered by investors, but now trembles under the weight of mismanaged hype and empty flagship stores. Number 4. Neiman Marcus. Neiman Marcus is facing a very visible shakeup in 2025, especially after being acquired by Saks Global. One of the biggest blows is the planned closure of its downtown Dallas flagship store, which has stood for more than a century. According to public reporting, the store will shut its doors on March 31, 2025, after the landlord terminated its ground lease. Saks Global says this is beyond their control and is not related to business performance, but rather a real estate conflict. Even though local business leaders tried to talk things through and floated ways to reimagine the historic building, the closure decision has largely held. According to Saks, they plan to invest $100 million into renovating another Dallas location, North Park Center, to serve Neiman Marcus's customers going forward. Saks also says it is resetting how it handles its luxury retail brands, combining Neiman Marcus under its group while trimming costs. As part of that reset, closing the downtown store makes sense financially. The lease was ending, and the rent under that ground lease was a major burden. According to public statements, the closure helps them eliminate overlapping costs, and they are offering transfers or separation packages to affected employees. There is also talk of re-envisioning what the downtown building will become. Saks Global has said it is exploring proposals with the city of Dallas to turn the space into a curated fashion event center, a retail incubator, or even a mixed-use design hub. This could help preserve the building's legacy while reducing the cost of running a traditional luxury department store in that location. City officials tried to step in. A local consortium negotiated to secure the land under parts of the store for the city, trying to keep the store alive or at least preserve its footprint. But despite these efforts, Saks insists the closure is still on track under its plan. Saks Global appears to be balancing heritage with profit. opting to shut its iconic location, even as it promises to preserve its legacy through potential redevelopment. Number 3 is a brand that everyone assumed was recession-proof, now facing a slow bleed as fatigue and shifting desires slowly erode its empire. Number 3, Salvatore Ferragamo. Salvatore Ferragamo is under real strain in 2025, and a combination of weak demand, shrinking channels, and macroeconomic challenges is pushing its stores to risk. In the first half of 2025, the company reported 474 million euros in revenue, which represents a 9.4% drop compared with the same period the year before. That decline was driven by major weakness in its wholesale business and lower sales in Asia-Pacific, one of Ferragamo's key markets. The company swung into a deep loss. Its adjusted EBIT turned negative, and net income plunged to minus 57 million euros in the first half of 2025. Inventory risk is also biting. Ferragamo flagged greater provisions due to older collections not selling through, hurting its margin and cash flow. Regionally, the pain is uneven but real. In the first quarter of 2025, Ferragamo said its Asia-Pacific business, excluding Japan, dropped 13%, largely because of weak foot traffic and cautious consumers. Their direct-to-consumer DTC sales slipped 3.6% in that quarter, even as wholesale rose modestly. But the gain in wholesale is not enough to make up for broader declines. Ferragamo is trying to turn things around. In its first quarter 2025 report, management said it will optimize its retail footprint. The number of directly operated stores fell slightly, from 371 to 362 as of March 31, 2025. This means they are closing or consolidating weaker stores rather than expanding. They also plan to lean harder into their heritage DNA and fine-tune core product lines, especially in leather goods and shoes, to better appeal to customers. On top of that, Ferragamo is reorganizing its leadership. CEO Marco Gabbetti stepped down, citing the tough environment, and the company says it will continue with operational discipline and a reset of its brand strategy. By refocusing on its heritage, Ganchino, bows, craftsmanship, and revising its handbag and shoe offer, they hope to win back demand, but this will likely take a long while. Next up is a brand that thrived for decades, but now finds itself trapped by its own reputation, unable to reinvent fast enough as consumer tastes shift under its feet. Number 2, Prada. Prada Group's first half of 2025 shows a fairly mixed picture, not a collapse, but enough signals that some stores could come under strain, especially if pressure worsens. In the first half of 2025, Prada Group recorded net revenues of 2,740 million euros, up 9% year-over-year. Their high-quality retail sales climbed 10%, which is quite strong. They also reported an adjusted EBIT margin of 22.6% and ended the period with a healthy net cash position of 352 million euros. Digging into brands, though, the flagship Prada brand itself showed more struggle. Its retail sales fell by around 2% in first half versus the former year. That drop reflects some softness in demand for its core high-fashion items. Meanwhile, Miu Miu, a younger and more experimental label under the same group, performed very strongly. Its retail sales jumped 49% in first half. This suggests that Prada Group is leaning heavily on Miu Miu's creative energy to carry it through. When you look at Prada's longer 9-month performance to September 30th, 2025, the group reported almost 4.1 billion euros in revenue, with its retail channel up 9%. But Prada brand's retail sales decline accelerated in second quarter and third quarter. According to their financial reporting, they operated 620 stores as of June 30th, 2025, after 14 new openings and 3 closures. So they are not massively shrinking, but they are being selective. Prada stores could be at risk in some markets because, while the group overall is doing okay, the core Prada brand is weak, and that undercut could make some underperforming boutiques less viable. Also, the group warns that short-term turbulence may persist, suggesting they are prepared to lean into operational discipline. Again, wholesale net sales are down slightly because Prada is maintaining a selective wholesale strategy. That means they're pushing more business into their own stores or very premium partners, but also exposing themselves to more risk if store traffic falls. Finally, while Prada's cash position is pushing, the company is also making bold moves. In the first half of 2025, they announced their plan to acquire Versace from Capri. That's a big bet. If things go wrong, they'll likely need to scale back less thriving real estate, especially in regions where Prada's signature brand isn't hitting targets, because that raises the stakes on performance. Finally, a brand that thrived on aspiration, but is now haunted by overexposure, as everyone can get it and no one feels special owning it. Number 1. Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton sits at the heart of LVMH's empire, and in 2025, it is riding through very choppy waters. LVMH's first-half financial report shows that its fashion and leather goods segment, where Vuitton is a cornerstone, saw revenue fall to 19.1 billion euros, down 7% organically versus the same period in 2024. At the same time, LVMH's net profit dropped 22% to 5.7 billion euros, putting serious pressure on operations. That decline is not just a small blip. In the second quarter, the fashion and leather goods division plunged 9% on an organic basis. LVMH is pointing to a mix of factors behind the slump, but a big part of the pain comes from tourism cooling off in Asia, especially in Japan, where spending last year was unusually strong because of weak currency effects. According to the CFO, local demand from Chinese customers has improved somewhat, but it doesn't make up for the weakness in other parts of Asia. Louis Vuitton has long relied on being a go-to brand for travelers and luxury tourists, and now that stream of customers is not as strong as before. As LVMH tries to adapt, Vuitton must lean into its core strengths: craftsmanship, iconic design, and high desirability. But even those are being tested. The group is having to weigh whether every Vuitton boutique is still worth keeping open, especially in markets where foot traffic and spending are falling short of past levels. Cost containment is becoming a bigger priority. LVMH's management says they are keeping a very close eye on expenses, and that could mean pruning some of the less profitable Louis Vuitton stores. The group's operating margin overall remains quite high, but the drop in recurring profits suggests that not every location is pulling its weight. There is also a strategic shift. LVMH is expanding production in the United States, planning to open a new factory in Texas by 2027. That move could help Vuitton lower its reliance on Europe or Asia supply chains, but it also signals a long-term recalibration. If costs go up in some regions, LVMH may favor closing or restructuring some boutiques and doubling down on others that can deliver consistent profit. On top of that, macroeconomic uncertainty is eating into consumer confidence, especially among high-spend shoppers. Analysts say the aspirational luxury buyer is being more cautious, and that may mean fewer Vuitton bags flying off the shelf in certain cities. With demand slowing, LVMH is walking a fine line. It needs to preserve the prestige of Vuitton, but it also cannot afford to carry underperforming stores that drag down profitability. LVMH may well shut or scale back some Vuitton locations that no longer make sense, as it seeks to steady its luxury ship in a stormy environment. In 2025, many luxury brands are navigating a perfect storm of challenges. Soft consumer demand, overbuilt retail networks, and creative stagnation are putting pressure on sales, while rising costs and debt concerns force companies to tighten their belts. Brands like Gucci, YSL, and Versace are having to cut less performing stores, restructure operations, and refocus on core products to stay afloat. Even iconic names like Louis Vuitton and Prada are not immune, facing strategic shifts to maintain profitability. Ultimately, the combination of market weakness, operational strain, and shifting consumer preferences is making this a life-changing year for luxury retail survival. Who knows how things might get next year? If this breakdown changed how you think about luxury, let us know in the comments. Which of these brands surprised you most? Are you still loyal to any of them, or have you switched to another brand? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss our next deep dive into the hidden dynamics of wealth, status, and the brands desperately trying to capture both. Because in luxury, nothing is permanent. Not success, not status, and definitely not survival.